You closed the Series C, exactly what you were aiming for, so $60 million.
In this environment, it's pretty remarkable, but it really is a testimony to the fact that when there is a good product with a good science and a clear unmet need, it is possible to find the right investors. Our model is not to have everything produced in one place and having gigantic logistics to manage, but rather taking our machines into a decentralized manufacturing model where you can be as close as you can to the largest hospitals and try to serve the patients in a quicker and cheaper way. I will never forget one of my investors say 7 years ago, I am not going to look at your financial projections because we all know that you have no clue about the financial projections in 5 years. And I found that refreshing. Like, let's just build the story.
Bienvenue to a new episode. I'm your host, Philip, and on this show, I'm interviewing the best Europeans in biotech to help you grow. A new avenue for advanced therapies is tissue therapeutics. One of the best companies in Europe and even globally is CUTISS, which has just closed a $60 million Series C and is recruiting for its phase 3. So I caught up with its founder, Daniela, while I was in Zurich. We actually had recorded a previous episode online back in April, but recording offline is just so much better. We talked about the challenges of developing a new category of therapeutics, from clinical trials to partner interests to reimbursement. We also talked about the intersection of tech hardware and biotech, aka tech bio, and why perseverance is key in life. For transparency, this episode has been sponsored by CUTISS. So, here's my conversation with Daniela, and please hit the like or follow button if you're enjoying it. All right, welcome to the show, Daniela.
Thank you for having me again.
Yeah.
Pleasure to be here.
Welcome back. Yeah. So much better in person.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I like your office. Like, it's good. I like the CUTISS house.
CUTISS house.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like the vibe also.
No, we think big.
Yeah. It's good. It's good. I will show some footage from the lab as well, so you have it in the episode. So, really great news. I mean, you closed the Series C, exactly what you were aiming for, so $60 million.
Yes.
And you closed it this month. So, yeah, just how do you feel about it?
Yeah, look, I feel good because I think we have some angels in heaven, closing. Now you mentioned dollars, but if you say Swiss francs, it's 56 million Swiss francs in this environment.
Yes.
It's pretty remarkable. I mean, it was a lot of work, so it's not something, that just happened for the fun of it. But this is really a story of resilience and commitment over few months, a few years almost. But it really is a testimony to the fact that when there is a good product with a good science and a clear unmet need, nobody can deny anymore. It is possible to find the right investors. Yeah.
And I saw that on the investor note. So the family office of Giuliani family office, they co-led the round. And then there's another family office coming in.
From the US?
From the US, which I think was important for you as well.
Yes.
Can you tell a bit more on the investor profile, on how it came about?
Absolutely. So in the history of CUTISS, we have had fundraising activities mostly with family offices and private individuals and foundations. This time, this co-lead position was very important for me because it shows that an existing investor is still trusting the technology many years after his first chip in.
When did they first invest?
2017.
Okay, wow.
And that a brand new family from the US actually comes into the story and agrees to co-lead. So I think it's an interesting move. And the first closing happened last year that everybody knows. And under the same terms, we managed now to reach the final goal of 56, and additional investors came in, again, family offices and private individuals, but also, a strategic one, which is, the Red Cross Hospital in Beverwijk in the Netherlands, which is, again, I think an incredible stamp, to have as a validation, because this is a very large, renowned burn unit in Europe, which basically decided to get as close as they could get to CUTISS at this point in time of development. So it's really, a testimony that, clients, if you want to call them that way, surgeons and patients and hospitals really want to have access to the technology as soon as possible. So altogether, the classical, let's say, family office, private individual story of CUTISS, but this time we have a very nice cherry on the cake, which is strategics. And I think that's, I feel extremely proud, and the entire team is very proud of what we did. Yeah,
that's amazing. We'll talk about the Netherlands a bit more, but I found it quite amazing that the existing investor, even 8 years later, co-led the round again. I mean,
it's pretty.
I haven't seen that often.
He pretty much likes us a lot. Yes.
And yes, deep pocket.
Well, I mean, I don't know how do you define deep pockets, but yes, I mean, I think it's important to show legacy and to show loyalty to programs like those, because it really takes long to go to the finish line. And if you are an investor which wants to invest and exit very fast, then you rather don't invest in CUTISS, right? So I think I'm extremely lucky with my cap table. I mean, these are all people that really care and they really want to help us get to the finish line. And they all knew, I think, that this would take a little. So
yeah.
Fair enough.
Good. That's good. And in the Netherlands, so they also, it's kind of it's an expansion, but they also invested a bit. Is that correct?
They invested, yes. I mean, the hospital holding invested in the equity.
Common,
which is not common, but I mean, as I said, things happen, and and then we have a collaboration agreement which sets the stage to expand into Netherlands as soon as the product will be approved.
Okay, that's good. So it's kind of, I guess you're already running the clinical trial there.
Yes, we already ran the phase 2 there. So phase 2 and now phase 3 as well. So
that's kind of a pre-commercial agreement.
It's some sort of, commitment to make sure that they will have access to the technology as soon as possible. So it really pays the ground for us to one day eventually install a facility in the Netherlands, which is totally in line with what we always said. I mean, our model is not to have everything produced in one place and having gigantic logistics to manage, but rather taking our machines into a decentralized manufacturing model where you can be as close as you can to the largest hospitals and try to serve the patients in a quicker and cheaper way. And again, I mean, their unit is one of the most renowned and biggest in Europe. So it makes perfectly sense, and it's perfectly in line with what we also always wanted to do. So
I guess you know them from.
I mean, we have been treating a lot of patients in that hospital, as I said, since the beginning of phase 2. So we started with them with phase 2 in 2018. So it's quite some time.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
That's,
I was young back then, fresh. I was
younger. You're still young. Come on. That's good. I'm wondering on the decentralized, because, I mean, when I think about, let's say, even in cell therapy, usually you go more by continent. If I don't think about more other cell therapy, some of them even, I'm thinking at Autolus, I think I saw recently that they were managing actually everything from London area. And then with Heathrow, they could go like very rapidly US, Asia, and they would not even have a regional centers. But I think most of the others have more like a regional per region, like Europe, US, Asia. So how much in your case, how much do you actually save? I mean, Netherlands, Switzerland is not that far away either. So it is, but it's not that far. So how important is it to be like more decentralized and local versus per region?
I mean, let's not forget that we are not doing cell therapy as per strict definition. We have cells in our product, but we do tissue therapy, which means we don't have a cold chain. We can't freeze and ship. So for cell therapy, where you have a vial of cells in a frozen stage, it's easier in a way. It's still tough, the logistic, but you have small volumes and you have, cold chain that's liquid with literally liquid nitrogen, and it's some way easier. So in our case, everything is living. We can't freeze. So there is a certain component of risk that shipping from Switzerland to, let's say, Finland or Ireland or Iceland would be critical. So we always thought that if we, want to expand in Europe, it will make sense to go a bit north of Switzerland. So, again, it was a combination of events. We didn't necessarily target Amsterdam or Netherlands per se, but altogether it makes a lot of sense to be a bit more north than Switzerland. And to answer your question, we intend to have a few more. We are going to be having for sure something in the American continent, something in the Middle East, something in Asia. We will not have 100 hubs, but we definitely need to be strategically in some areas where, again, airports will be close by, ports will be close by, and vicinity to the largest units. Because let's not forget, burn patients are centralized. They're treated in certain special hospitals which have the burn units. So if you can stay as close as possible to the largest units where you have a lot of patients coming in from different regions, then that's the best call you can do. So it's not as straightforward as for cell therapy, maybe. It's just a little different, and nobody's really doing that quite yet. Nobody has a decentralized model for tissue therapy production. So we are kind of the first ones, and we'll see how it goes. We'll make it work.
And I guess in the Netherlands, as you said, it's the biggest center. So I guess a lot of
there is a lot of confluence
Dutch
also
patients.
From maybe Denmark and Germany. You have Belgians. But it's an interesting place to be because also the historical knowledge they have in burn treatment. So I think it's really the best call we could have done for now. Yeah.
And how is the other tissue therapies doing? Because you said you were kind of the first one on the more decentralized model. So how are the other ones managing?
So at the moment, there's not that many tissues being sold.
You say there's a few now on the market, and
there is cornea, which is now on a monocentric production, manual production. So again, this decentralized story only works if you've got machines, because then it's easier to decentralize. So companies which are still producing manually, like the cornea, like the blood vessels, and now there is a few other tissues coming up, they are still in one production site.
And how do they ship them?
They have the same thing. They're shipping warm chain as well. So to the best of my knowledge, but I don't know the details of all of these. So I think at this point in time, we really are the first ones which are trying to do a decentralized model with the machines. So and we are also moving away from cold chain to room temperature chain. So these guys may also change and improve their logistics. It's not just a matter of what it looks like, it's a matter of where you want to go. And if you want to have a product which is really getting a global outreach, you can't project everything in one monocentric production.
Exactly. And I guess what you say also from a living tissue just makes me think is it like more compared to organ transplant? But organs are also like shipped.
Organs, I think, are shipped in cold chain, like 4 degrees. Yeah. I'm not so sure whether this is also depending on which organ. So
you cannot freeze it.
Again, we cannot freeze it as well.
But you can still ship it, like,
you can still ship it. Yeah, but honestly, today with technology we have, we can ship pretty much at every temperature. It is not. It's really a question of strategy and de-risking the logistics.
Looking for the optimal.
Yes, we are somewhere in between. We are not cells and we are not organ. We are a tissue, which is the gray zone.
And maybe before jumping to automation into the phase 3, maybe if you could just give a bit of a top level of how it works, just how the technology works, maybe for the audience also, who have not catched the first episode.
The first one, guys, go watch it first.
Maybe just a 1 minute, like high level.
Yeah, so when people today need to undergo a skin surgery because of a burn, a cancer, a trauma, a plastic surgery, a reconstructive surgery, the technology used or the method used to do the surgery is autografting, meaning that you have to have a piece of skin, healthy skin taken from somewhere on the patient's body, and this graft is grafted on the wound area. You have two major issues: donor site shortage in large wounds, and scarring, because this autograft is unfortunately developing into scars. So what we try to do at CUTISS is trying to hit those two problems with two solutions, unifying that into the NovoSkin. The NovoSkin is a bioengineered, personalized human skin graft made on demand. So there is no rejection issue. Every patient gets his own piece of skin. We take a tiny piece of skin from the patient, very small, and we can make large quantities of skin. So no issue with donor site shortage anymore. And because of the way
it's like 100.
At least 100 in 3 weeks. Yes, we can, of course, do much more with more time. And then, because of the way we have developed the product, our phase 2 data and our phase 1 data show a huge promise to actually drastically reduce the scarring, which means improved quality of life, reduced costs, higher mobility, growth in children. I mean, a gigantic benefit altogether for the patients.
That's amazing. Yeah. I remember from our conversation also, like, what I didn't, or what I realized is, like, for small burns, basically, I guess autografting kind of works, but once it's like, I guess, double digits
it's
of the
20% of your body surface, you start having troubles.
Yeah, and then you really need something better. Yeah, and actually, but what you said is also, we're counting in, I don't know the prevalence, but I think globally is like in the millions of patients who have.
Yes, I mean, we did our own search between Europe and US, because there is no real report on skin surgery in general. You have a lot of reports on aesthetics and some reports on burns, but we're actually doing much more than burns and much more than aesthetics. So if you consider purely the burns and the medical reconstruction, think about cancer, trauma, tumors, or scars or giant nevi, it's about 1 million people per year between Europe and US that undergoes a skin surgery. If you add the aesthetics to that, I don't know what the number goes to.
That's a lot. I mean, it's a very high unmet medical need and a big market as a company as well.
And totally underserved, because there is not really much you can buy, especially in the reconstructions. In burns, you've got a few products which were developed from the 90s on, especially given the military interest for treatment of burns. But for reconstructions, there is basically not really much. So we will be really, filling up a gigantic hole in the system. Yeah.
That's it. And actually talking about the clinical data as well, like, I mean, you went through the phase 1, phase 2, and now you're running your phase 3, which is amazing.
Which is a challenge.
And we talked a bit about it, but I'm curious just how things are going. If you have any updates.
No, absolutely. I mean, actually, we were trying to get some statistics out, and we failed, even using AI, because it's apparently extremely rare to have a small company out of academia taking a product of this complexity all the way through phase 3. So I think that we found like 4 companies in the world with that. So, we feel pretty special. This means that other
4 are like tissue therapies, or also cell therapies?
Cell therapy in general, ATMP,
very complex
ATMP orphan product out of university, out of academia, all the way alone, without partners, without an M&A, without an IPO, without major collaborators, without pharma backing, pretty much less than 5 in the world. So we do feel very special.
That's a lot of criteria.
It's a lot of criteria, of course, but it is the reality of many academics.
I was thinking Autolus, which I think came out of academia. I think they commercialized it, but they did an IPO.
Yeah, exactly.
And they had, I think they commercialized themselves, but but not.
So without, let's say, with the with the fundraising and remaining private, without raising, we as of today raised 125 million Swiss francs, which is also not a billion, right? So we did our best, and now that's the biggest challenge. I mean, phase 3 started. We are recruiting in 20 centers in 8 countries. Wow. We are growing the team to make sure that we can keep capacity and, more patients, more stories, more events to manage, more PIs, surgeons to instruct and train and keep on track. So everything is just big. So the complexity is there by definition. But I mean, we started and we will get done. So we are up to the challenge. But it's something which we have to do and will do. So,
yeah. Can you just on how many patients you are recruiting for the trial?
Yeah.
And what's the expected timelines?
Mm-hmm. So we have to recruit 70 patients altogether. And we expect the first data set by the end of next year, because there is, of course, follow-up and more to come over time. But we should be able to have a good grasp on the situation by the end of next year.
Okay. So what's the plan for the full enrollment?
In the next months?
By the end of the year? And
I don't give you the exact timeline, but we should be able to have a good grasp by the end of next year. So give us a year and a bit to do the work.
Okay. And then I'm just curious also on the endpoints, because is it like primary endpoint, secondary endpoint, or is
there's plenty of endpoints, yes.
Yeah. But once you are pioneering, really a field, how do you, what are the endpoints?
Yeah.
What are the biomarkers, whatever?
That's interesting. So this has been a discussion from day zero. So already decided the endpoint of phase 2 was a big challenge. And the only way to make sure that the endpoint we chose was correct in terms of compliance or clinical relevance or what have you, we immediately discussed that with the EMA and the Swiss Medics. So we never decided to run things without having a meeting with them to align on certain things. So what we did in phase 2 was to basically check our capacity of sparing donor site. So the primary endpoint really focused on how much skin can we produce versus the biopsy compared to the standard of care. And the standard of care has been an intra-patient control. So every patient received the novel skin and the autograft. Okay. So we can check this data point on each and every single patient. Okay. We proved that, with high statistical significance. So clearly we can spare donor site. Yeah. And now in phase 3, we went again to the regulatory to say, okay, what shall we do for phase 3? What's your take on the endpoint of phase 3? And the discussion took some time. It was not straightforward because, as you say, we cannot follow the steps of many others. Yeah. So, and now we basically agreed to have a primary endpoint which will focus on the closure of the wounds, which is a primary point. You have to close the wounds at the same way as the control. So it's a non-inferiority endpoint, but in composition with the scar quality, because now that's the next thing that we want to show, right? After donor site, what matters is the scar quality. So we will focus on this now for the phase 3.
But you will still do the autograph and
absolutely
on the same patients.
Yes, okay. Same setting, intra-patient randomized control.
Okay, wow. Yeah, and I remember, and I will show some footage of I think it's on the arm. You have some pictures where you can see the differences.
With your naked eyes. Yeah, you need no PhD nor MD to actually understand the difference. And that is actually one of the big advantages. We can see very fast if it's on the right track or not. Yeah. And you can see that visually. There is no big assay or big testing that you need to run compared to what, for example, pharma people have to do, And that's why it's an open label study. There is no way to blind it. It's absolutely impossible to blind. So, yeah.
Actually, what you mentioned was the pharma, which is pretty amazing when you always think about controlling placebo. But
until the end, you have no clue, right?
You can never do it in the same patient versus you guys can do it basically in the same patient. So, if it's exactly the same cells, the same immunoreaction, everything, and you can really compare.
Every patient has its own little story. And if the patient has an issue with wound healing, you will see it on both areas, right? Yeah. While in a classical blinded study, you never know exactly if any of the patient-specific the situation has any influence. So in our case, we can really tell 70 different stories, which is interesting.
That's good. And so I guess also that's why you will see the results of the clinical trial pretty rapidly, I guess.
Yes.
That's why within whatever.
Yeah, because I mean, as I said,
18
it's
months.
It's an open label, and we will be able to very quickly say after recruitment if it's on a good track or not.
Okay. And then I guess because I mean the next challenge will be, I guess, commercial and reimbursement, and there I guess you want to have more like
long term
and I guess stats as well.
Yeah,
not just like visual, but like stats of like, okay, we are helping by X%, but then also like we are lowering complications by whatever X%, and I guess that's where you need a statistic, like a certain
of
number
course.
of
I mean, we will
patients.
need to build an health economics model, an impact budget model, and we're already working on that now that we closed the round and we know that we can move ahead. Because we are not just relying on phase 3 for that. I mean, we have done a phase 1 with 5 years follow-up on these patients. We have done a phase 2 with 3 years follow-up on these patients. And now the phase 3 will have 2 years follow-up on top of that. And we have compassionate patients, which we treated also many, many years ago that we can add to the package. So our health economics will have to be based on this. But let's not forget that we have an interpatient control. So we have a limit, intrinsic limit in our study, which is, for example, quality of life. How are you going to, estimate the quality of life if a patient has half de novo skin and half autograft? So the amount of work we have to do, it's also based on the current costs and the retrospective work done on repositories, for example, so that we build a story of what today is the burden and how we could extrapolate based on our data a successful cost effectiveness study. So it's much more complex than just collecting health economics data on a protocol. So wish me good luck. But we'll get there.
And also what you mentioned in the top level is that the autografting, one of the complicated is the scars and the scars management afterwards.
Yes, lifelong. So can you build the health economics on a lifelong data set? Oh, good luck with that. So, we need to build the model which runs.
I guess you have kind of annual costs.
Yes.
You have some percentage of patients, kind of some averages, and I guess you can compare.
Yeah, of course. That's what I'm saying. We can go back to, even retrospectively, to those data sets, that the hospital have, about re-entering the hospital, reconstructions, rehabilitation, physiotherapy. But there is also an entire world of micro costs that the patient has to go through with gowning, lotions, creams, lasers, pressure garments, different kind of therapies that they do basically at their costs very often to try and keep up with a good quality scar. And this entire world has to be considered. You cannot just say, okay, the patient underwent 2 reconstructions, so that's the total cost of the patient spent. It is not true. And more and more, especially in tissues and cell therapy, this micro world has to be considered. And for us is a gigantic amount, because it's not just having, like in oncology, a follow-up of survival over 5 years. I mean, if somebody gets burned at the age of 3 and lives 98 years old, you have 95 years of micro costs, right? So it is something which is extremely challenging. So we're going to need to have a very creative way to build this model. But again, I mean, it's just the beginning. I think many other tissue companies and organ transplantations and cell therapy companies going beyond oncology will have to do. So let's just start. We'll get somewhere.
And what's your expectation in terms of like pricing, reimbursement? Yeah, like let's say whatever total addressable markets.
I mean, we have
without
done
going
an
into any details, but like
we have done an analysis in the Europe and US, considering the big 5 plus additional countries like Switzerland and Netherlands, for example, already back then, and the US. Of course, what we did is good for now, but we need to now, move on also because things are different, changing, especially in the US. We have to follow the situation. So I don't have a clear answer as of today. In Europe, we need to go nation by nation. There is no centralized reimbursement or pricing situation. So we will need to just go really country by country and set the price and negotiate the price with the HTAs. And again, I mean, to do that, we wanted to go with a dossier which is solid, and that's why we have been waiting to have the phase 2 completed with a 3-year-long follow-up, and that's happening right now. So the last visit of phase 2 was just a couple of weeks ago. So let me build a dossier. Let me build evidence of what the product can do, and now we are ready to start this kind of conversation. But to your point, I mean, we already have an idea of the price and the reimbursement options we have at our plate. But again, there is more to build.
What is it like? I mean, I'm just to have an idea as well. Are we talking whatever like the price of MABs, like whatever, 50K? We're talking about cell therapy, $500,000.
I mean, the thing is that we are selling skin on demand. So, and skin is big, and every patient will have a different request. So one patient could buy 2 skin units, and another patient coming the day after may want 50 units. So we are not going to have a price per therapy. We're going to have a price per skin unit sold. And that's, again, different from all CAR-T or cell therapy around. Again, it's a very specific model for tissues and very specific model for skin, because if you sell cornea, it is 1 or 2 per patient. If you sell a blood vessel, it's 1 per patient. If you sell a heart, it's 1 heart per patient. Skin... again, we need to be extremely elegant in our model and extremely pragmatic, you know. And again, nobody has done it in the past. So there is some companies in the US which sell keratinocyte sheets, and they price it per square centimeter. And we are now pricing it per unit in our model. But is that going to be the real one? Is the HTA going to negotiate something else? We'll see, but it's challenging because of the physical characteristics of skin, which is, you know, every patient has a different size, and every patient has a different request. So
and I guess for you also from a process, I guess you have a minimal cost or minimum handle to do 1 unit is not the same as doing 3 units.
Exactly. So we will need to have some sort of economy or scale, because if I do 1 unit or 100, it's not simply 1 multiplied by 100. You know, exactly. So that's all work in progress. And I mean, I have to say, we have some assumptions. We build a model, but we are also really, really much better now than 3 years ago in our production costs and everything and efficiency. So, you know, I think now is the right time to start building something which could be ready for a discussion with the authorities. In the past, everything was still so low volume. You know, we did 1 patient every a bit and small quantities. And so now it's all, I think it's just the right time to start, but we are not there yet. Yeah.
That's good. You still didn't tell me a ballpark.
A ballpark. I mean, look, we have to consider, we need to go with assumptions. So let's say a patient burned 50%. Today, forget about the Novoskin, getting all the treatments, getting all the transplantations. Over 5 years will cost the system about 2 million euros. So over 5 years, if you use the Novoskin partially, not even to cover the full 50%, our estimates are that by the end of the 5th year post-grafting, we could spare at least 30% of the total cost. So if you can spare money, then the price it will be acceptable. So we have to play with this idea of reduction of total costs, and maybe 5 years is too far-fetched. We will need to consider 18 months or 24 months, to show that we are already positive much earlier than the 5 years. But again, it's a consideration that needs to be based on the current situation, because
And now I understand also your point is a micro cost, because I guess you guys are more expensive up front. But over 5 years, there's a reduction.
Exactly. And the number I mentioned to you, the 30% that we kind of calculated in our preliminary analysis, is not considering the micro costs. So that's why, I mean, it's very hard for me to give you a ballpark, because there is a lot of work to do to price it correctly.
But I guess it's also a similar challenge to some of the, let's say, other ATMP products like cell and gene therapy, where the upfront cost is huge. But actually what you save down the road is quite a lot. But to demonstrate that from health economics,
it's a challenge.
It's a challenge, yeah.
But I mean, we also need to understand that there is a shift in the paradigm, right? I mean, selling and pricing and reimbursing tissue or cell therapy 10 years ago was almost like, like, oh, wow, what do we do? And now the stakeholders are getting educated and they're understanding. And I think, it's a little easier than it used to be 10 years ago. So let's hope that the future trend continues in that way, because if you only consider the time at treatment, how do you want such an innovative therapy to be cheaper than anything standard of care wise? So it has to be the model that works for everybody, looking at what happens after, or nothing will move. We will stay with what we have and never move.
That's good that you have in a way the other ATMPs help you.
Absolutely.
On the pricing reimbursement benefits.
Yeah. We are trying to actually work together. I mean, we are part of this Alliance for Regenerative Medicine, and I was in Rome at the meeting this spring. I mean, pretty much everybody has the same kind of strategy going forward. And that's why I say, I mean, at one point, this may become routine, that you look into the post-grafting, post-application to consider the benefit. Otherwise, it's not going to fly. Yeah.
And from a regenerative medicine point of view, like, I'm curious, how much are you impacted by right now the just cell and gene therapy are quite going down?
I think it's coming up again. There's been some good M&As in the last few weeks. So I think it's slowly. But still, I mean, just overall, I think overall
even
is down.
over the past 12, 24 months, it's quite low.
Yeah.
How does it affect you, say, in the fundraising?
Nothing affects me. I'm going straight. I'm going straight to my way. Hopefully, there's no wall in front of me at one point. No, I mean, the sentiment is definitely on the negative side, and that's why, I mean, also for us, it didn't take. This money was raised over a long stretch because the sentiment is. It's not just about cell therapy. It's about technology in health somehow altogether. I just had a conversation with the CEO of a medtech company, not a biotech. And she says also like, all the investors are like, yeah, but when are you going to be cash positive? Or when are you going to do the multiples? And it's like, yeah, but, it's not so simple. Look at what the world looks like. And all these, geopolitical distractions are influencing negatively investors. I mean, we cannot do much about it. But I think health is health, and we cannot just stop investing in technology for health because it grows to extinction. So it's just a phase, and maybe there was also a lot of, a kind of a small bubble around cell and gene therapy a few years ago, and there was maybe a bit too much, and now, the first reaction is like, then enough, we don't invest anymore. But I think it's going to reopen. I mean, we can't stop investing in health. There's no way we can do that.
Yeah. I mean, but I think also just also for the audience a bit, like, I think the expectations were really high.
They're really high, and bit overpromised a little. And
overpromised a bit, but also the commercial performance was lower than expected. I mean, CUTISS, some of them, I think, are in the $1 billion in the blockbuster range. I think especially the Gilead one.
Yeah.
But a lot of the others, especially in gene therapy, is like not going that well. And even some of them are even like stopped commercializing because of the commercial performance was really low.
But isn't that mostly oncology?
No, it was especially gene therapy and like in rare disease was just
not really up to the
because it was just
promise.
Too expensive, not reimbursed, too little patient numbers, too complex.
Yeah.
Even too complex, like, and quite some side effects in some cases. So it was like just the whole mix
was not up to the expectations. So let's try to get better. I mean, we got low, now we can only go upwards.
Actually, it brings me also to one thing that you said, like, you don't have a pharma partner. I'm curious on how much, like, how much of pharma interested in you guys in tissue therapeutics in general? Like, are they just like, okay, let's wait and see what's coming out? Or are they like, okay, we believe in we see the potential, but we want to see X, Y, Z milestone? Or like, how is the reaction there? Like,
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, I to be honest, I have not started deep conversation with 10 different players. I mean, at the moment, what we all want to do is to try and get through this phase 3 and say, okay, this is development is completed, and who wants to talk? That. So we haven't really pushed quite hard, and I have to say, there is some rumors that pharma could open the door to discussion after phase 3 is kind of going well. So I think we kind of understood that, and it has been confirmed. But what is interesting here is that we are not necessarily a pharma bite. I mean, we can be a pharma bite, we can be a medtech bite, we can be a deep tech bite, we could be a tech bio bite. So we have to see which player, which of these sectors will move more into tissue organ, and probably this would be the first conversations to be started. It's not necessarily pharma. So
okay, because that's actually where I was, or like from your answer, where I'm a bit going is like, who are you most likely partners or exit? Like what's like?
I mean, in skin surgery, there is quite some good medtech players in Europe. Okay. Pretty solid medtech in Europe. So this could be an interesting approach for us because
they're selling products for autografting.
Yes, for skin surgery. Okay. So this could be a very interesting scenario to explore. But there is also companies that produce now machines, bioreactors for cell therapy, and are they going to go into tissues? Would we be an appealing package, given the fact that we have an ATMP in phase 3 or approved, plus the machines? Maybe they want to take the machines angle, and then we could be really, really interesting for them, because to the best of our knowledge, there is no other company producing machine or developing machines for tissue production on demand. There is also, the classical pharma, of course, interested in the tissue therapeutics kind of thing, the orphan indication, the fact that we are unique and, filling an unmet need. And then there is this new tech bio story that is popping up. And that's maybe the perfect combination, because that tech bio needs to have a biological component, a biotech component, but also a very strong machine/AI/deep tech component. And maybe basically that's going to be a natural direction for us to go to. But who is the strongest leader in tech bio? It's to be seen. So
and for now, it's
work in progress.
Mostly startups and earlier stage players.
It's already changing a little, but I think we have got.
I just mean there's no
big player.
Tech bio
at the moment.
Or at least I don't know.
There is somebody who slowly will be calling themselves tech bio. You'll see. It's just a change of name.
Rebranding.
a rebranding, a repurposing. But I think it's the right time. I mean, if we can all keep a little bit of peace of mind and wait 2 years from now, I think things will change. I think it will become much more clear for everybody. Yeah. Right now, it's give us some time.
That's good also for you guys to have the options, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting thing. When we started, we knew that we are taking a risk, doing clinical trials and machines at the same time. But now I think, with all the hard work done and the sweat, I think it was the right decision, because you see where the world is going. And today, having a full tech, a full ATMP in phase 3 without any clue how to scale that up, would probably be a complete no-go for many of the potential M&A candidates.
I'm curious if we stay a bit on this, on the challenges attached to that. Especially from, let's say, raising money. Usually, investors like to have a quite clear path in terms of like potential exits, especially exit path. Either it's like an IPO and they go, or like an M&A, or more like an exit, a partnership. Mm-hmm. But in your case, it from what I hear, was basically not that clear, and you could go more like towards commercialization yourself, but was also like a lot of changes. So how was that like?
Yeah, I think I don't know. This is my first company, and many other people that have done more than one company have better overview of that. When we started, we knew that we had to go through the clinical development and it will take time. And we knew that we rather start working on machines now or it's going to be too late. So we just focused on that. Let's just go to the point. let's see whether our call was correct. Let's see where the entire field is going. And I think right now it was the right choice. But our investors knew that this is so new and it's so pioneering in a way that having a plan fully fledged, fully ready would be probably a stupid idea because I will never forget one of my investors say, back then, like 7 years ago, I am not going to look at your financial projections because we all know that you have no clue about the financial projections in 5 years. And, I found that refreshing. Like, let's just build the story. Let's just get the science right, the story right. And when the time will come that we are closer to commercialization, things will be much more clear. Yeah. And now what's the plan now? Because now we are there. I mean, we are more than ready to start commercializing ourselves. And I'm not afraid at all of going public and doing this, bottom up, let's say. But I'm not going to just take that decision now and close up the possibility of doing an M&A with a company which could open 5 geographies, having the full-fledged team. So at the moment, again, I mean, let's just finish what we started. Let's take the possibilities, in front of us and the opportunities and the conversations the best we can. Why? Because all we want, and that will not change, is to get this product out as fast as possible to as many people as possible. If that will be better done with an IPO, fair enough. If that will be better done with an M&A, better. If at the end we do a partnership with pharma, we can do it together, why not? We try to stay focused on our goal and we'll do our best to do the right call. I mean, yeah.
And the Series C, you said you can go commercial. Is it enough to start commercialization?
It depends on how fast the approval comes, which again we don't have really a lot of visibility quite yet. I mean, there is really extremely good options to be fast in certain geographies because of the orphan drug designation and the good quality of data we have generated. So there is a possibility that this fundraise would allow me to start commercially, of course, with not too many geographies and not too many volume, but much volume. But yeah. But, I mean, we don't have a lot of visibility there, so we are trying our best. But it's also true that I have now engaged on the cap table with some big investors, which could also support, a bridging financing if needed be, or we are applying for different grants. We are looking at more investment if people are interested now, because now that we closed the round, the interest popped up back again, So at the moment, I mean, again, we have closed the round. We have secured financing. We can go at speed now. There is no more doubt whether the company will be making it or not. And I'm pretty sure we'll get there with additional investors rather soon. I mean, some conversation has already started. I'm like, I've been fundraising for 2 years. Why are you talking? Why? Yeah, but that's how it is. And it's fun.
Yeah.
So we take it from there. So the call is still open. If somebody wants to invest, just reach out to me.
And I guess also from all our discussion, once you have some commercial data, will help with
absolutely
interest. And
I mean, this would be a gigantic proof of concept, that somebody can take an academic product out and go through the most expensive clinical development ever, producing in-house, building a GMP facility, building the team, and getting commercial. I mean, this would be the biggest success ever for me and my team, of course.
Yeah. You mentioned automation quite a lot, and so, which I think is one of the things that is quite amazing with you guys. You have actually done it, and actually developed the machine. Which also, what I remember is there was no off-the-shelf existing machine to grow the tissue, so you had to do everything from scratch.
Yeah.
And what I've seen as well is that now Taken is more a partner, which I think they are really big in general in machine automation. Yeah. And they can help you basically bring your own machine to the next level. Yeah. Can you talk a bit about all of that? And
I mean, clearly there was an evolution there as well. I mean, when we started, we had great partners for the discovery phase, like Zurich and CSEM, and InnoSwiss helped us a lot. And because we had to literally build it from scratch. Yeah. So it was a long process and a very, very fun process, because literally we were, drawing prototypes on paper and trying to make it work, and that was extremely fun. With the idea that the manual process, which was the one running in phase 2, was still not the complete finished one, because we are still in phase 2. So we are still changing parameters and things. And so can we lock the machine design when the manual process is still work in progress? I mean, it didn't make sense. Now that we started phase 3 and we have a process which is the pivotal one, which will most likely be the commercial, at least to start. Don't take me wrong, manufacturing process will evolve. I mean, science is, we cannot say that's the process which will be for the next 20 years. But now we have a process which is in phase 3. So this process now can be translated into the automated one. So we were at the point where the discovery was finished, the innovation kind of had ended up to the dead end, meaning we did our patents, we did our testings. Now we need a machine that can actually go industrial, and we needed a partner that could do that stage, having the knowledge of how to industrialize a machine and also manufacturing capacity, because I need to, at one point, produce these machines, and I cannot do that myself. So the step forward to Tecan was a really interesting one, because they have the competency and they really love the project. I mean, I don't know whether you saw the CEO, the new CEO and the old CEO of Tecan quotes in our press release. I mean, they really, really believe that tissue making is going to be the future. And now with them, I mean, the path is set. I mean, we will be able to accelerate this now and really make it a reality. I mean, there will be a machine that will produce skin for human use.
Yeah.
But it's not like we are late or we could have done it earlier. No, I mean, this is now the right time, because our machines need to replicate the manual process. They are not just reinventing anything, and now we can push for speed. Yeah.
How many machines are we talking about, like from a scale? Like,
I mean, we are not selling machines, right?
Yeah.
So our business model, number 1, and not excluding business model number 2 and 3 going forward. But at the moment, we plan to have the machines in-house. So we are still selling skin.
You're selling the skin?
We are selling skin. And the machines are in our control. And this means that we will have manufacturing lines. And each line will have a certain number of machines. So it's not going to be producing thousands of machines, because that's not necessary. So we're talking about hundreds. I mean, it's really a reasonable number. But again, these are very complex machines. So we needed a solid partner that could manufacture that complexity. It's not just a question of volumes.
Okay. And I guess it's also very custom machine.
Very custom machine software, this all, recording and tracking and coding, because it's personalized therapy. You're not producing a batch over 3 months and stop and restart, right? Yeah. So it's an interesting concept, and I think Tecan is really one of the best partners we could have ever engaged with for now.
And I guess for Tecan is a way to have a kind of a proof of concept in tissue therapy, and then they can expand to different applications.
I don't know what their idea is for the future, but they clearly took a step to say we want to be part of this tissue therapy, game which is starting, and let's see how it goes.
Did they invest also equity? Or?
I mean, I cannot disclose this information, unfortunately, so you can ask them. But the collaboration has started already this March, and it's going very well. And investing or not is not honestly really relevant at this point.
Yeah. And you mentioned a bit of software as well.
Yeah, for sure.
There's software, which is amazing, because there's the more mechanical, the software, the bio.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of...
It's
easy.
It's very simple, yes.
Curious on the software of like, what are we exactly talking about, and how much, let's say, all the AI, how much of some of the AI is helping now? Are you using, or whatever, some, I don't know which kind of, Gen AI, some transformers to like do some data sampling recognition, something, or is it like...
Give me a headache. Yes. Look, step by step. There is a software component which is extremely regulatory, heavy, meaning that the software has to be compliant to very strict regulation, because again, the software will control the way we grow the cells and we do the tissue. So It has to be a GMP compliant,
I guess super reliable,
super robust, open. You can go and check every step. You can go. And that part is the one which we have to do.
Yeah.
Of course, again, going to the tech bio story, which it's going to kick in. Every batch we do is different, and every batch we do is personalized. So can we build a system where at every batch we learn something? The software will learn how to get the next one more predictable and maybe avoid that and that step, which caused a 2 days delay on the process. So it's a component of machine learning, which is probably going to hit very fast, because if we want to produce at scale, there must be some AI support in trying to optimize the culture and reduce the volumes or minimize waste or minimize time or predict potential contamination issues based on there is a world of things to explore. And we always had the idea of doing this at one point, but you see now there is no way back. I don't think there is a way to say, now we are never going to do machine learning. I mean, it's impossible right now. It's just a question of time. So I'm actually going to hire soon a transformation officer. So we're going to kick in with AI very soon.
Good. And I guess the whole machine learning is also much easier today than 3 to 5 years ago.
Today, as I said, it's basically a must. It's just a question of choosing the right tool, validating the right tool, and personalized to your needs. 10 years ago, if I would have told an investor, I'm going to do AI in machine learning.
What is machine?
They will go like, okay, you are crazy indeed. So now the question is, when are you starting?
Just a little bit crazy, but not too crazy.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that would have been the end. But no, that's the beauty of it. I think we kind of got on the right wave back then, which is now we are ready to go to that. And without having thought about the machines and the software initially, now we will be like, AI what? You cannot use AI in a manual process. So
and you need kind of the whole basis and the data and something that works, and then you can build on top. Yeah.
And you need to know your process very well, because you can get data. Yeah. But then what do you do with it? If you don't know how to read the data and make something out of it, anybody can collect data. But so it's 10 years ago, it would have been completely out of scope. Yeah.
One thing with switching a bit topic, you tell me you wanted to discuss it on the US-Europe thing. You mentioned a bit on the US that there's some complexity, some uncertainties. But then you tell me also it's probably a chance for Europe.
For Europe.
In a way. Yeah. Can you
it's almost like we were. Again, I'm a biotechnologist. This is my first company. I've heard it all, right? And one of the first thing was, but why did you, create the company in Switzerland? You should have gone straight to the US. This was a mistake. Why did you start the phase 3 in Europe? You should have gone straight to the US. This is a mistake, because US is the land of opportunities, and there is much more money, and there is much more possibility of collaboration. The FDA is much faster, and hospitals are faster, and PIs are faster in recruiting, and everything was faster and bigger and better, right? And now we see that right now, this faster, bigger, and better is a little bit more dimensioned, because biotech funding has been cut, and FDA has been reduced in people working for that. A lot of startups are struggling to even engage in M&A conversations. Everybody's kind of cautious, and Europe has been always like that, very conservative, very cautious, little capital, little everything. So now if the bar on the other side lowers a little and we have been low, it will be easier to compensate right now with much less effort than it used to be in the past. So it's a window of opportunity, I think, for European to step up and to show that there is actually funds here as well. There is good science here as well, and the clinical trials can be run here as well, and that M&As can be done here as well, and that actually, we shouldn't make it a question of geographies, but the best technologies all over the world should be having the chance to get approved and to move forward. So I don't think it's the, now, the geopolitical situation is the only chance, but I think if you look at it holistically, Europe could could have a chance this time to show its strengths, and we'll see.
Yeah, I like that. I want to finish with a bit of a quick questions.
Okay, I'm ready.
Ready? No, one a bit personal question, I think, and I remember, and I can still feel it. I think you're quite intense and working hard. Like why is it so important
to work hard
and to be where is this intensity and working hard coming from?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's a combination of things. I really, really believe in what we're doing. Yeah. So it's almost a personal cause now, you know, that I have to get this done. I really think that when you decide to do something, you got to do it the best you can and the fastest you can, because time is money. And because doing it not at the best, it means that actually you could have done more. You didn't. I mean, this is like a horrible thing for me. Like if I could have done more, I should have done more, right? And I really think everything is going very fast in the tech, bio and the biotech and everything. So you can't afford to be behind of even a week on what's going on. So it's an attitude of mine by definition, like to be fast and very competitive. But I think in the sector we are, honestly, without this competitiveness and this speed, you will not succeed because there will be somebody else doing it. And so it has to be like that. And actually even more. I'm actually even too slow these days. I'm getting too old. I need to find some solutions.
What were some of your lessons on perseverance?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm trying to teach my kids. You know, if you really want something, there is limits to what one can do and shall not do, but you just have to get it done. You just have to find a way, and life will throw anything at you, and you will probably change your path 100 times, but just don't drop what you start, you know, because dropping, it's a failure in a way. And things, I mean, you know, it's like energy. Energy cannot be created and cannot be disrupted or destroyed. It's like that. I mean, if you want to do something, just get it done one way or another. And eventually what you wanted will also be reshaped. Eventually you're not going to get exactly what you thought you would want. But perseverance is everything. I mean, resilience, you know, just try to get it done one way or another. And that's what I'm trying to teach my kids, because now they're like, you know, having the first big exam and stuff. Like, what if I don't pass? If you don't pass, what do you want to do? Then we try to find another way. But what do you want? And this is, I think, the never give up kind of attitude. Yeah.
What were some of your challenges on work-life balance?
Really? Don't you have another question? Okay. I don't manage to lose weight. I don't manage to go to sports. I don't manage to spend some quality time with my husband somewhere in a restaurant very often. And I wish I could spend more time talking to myself, which is not on the tram, because I think people soon think that I'm crazy because, you know, I'm on the tram like, okay, so what am I doing again? It's tough. Yeah. It's tough. It's also a special time in my life. I mean, with the children, it would be easier once they're bigger. So now they need a lot of attention, and it's tough to find time for myself. Yeah. But I'm good with cutting all possible minutes out of my day to still do what I like. So I have a lot of pleasure in singing and stand-up comedy and other silly things I do to relax. So no big real plan on any sort of meditation or God knows what. I'll try to do some sports. But yeah, it's tough to balance, but so far so good.
Yeah. What do people get wrong about tissue therapies?
What do people get wrong?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they still don't understand that this is a living thing, and they still mix it with medtech a lot. So they still think that there is no difference between a collagen sponge and the novel skin. Yeah. It's like, but isn't that like like something you can just, sell in a box and like, no, this is a tissue. It's a living tissue. It's closer to cell therapy than than to any medtech thing. And people start, there has been a big misconception, especially in my field, skin substitutes. They have been called skin substitutes, artificial skin for centuries. And this was all collagen sponges and smart dressings. And now I come with a skin substitute myself. And
real actual skin substitute.
Yeah, they kind of confuse it a little bit, but it's changing. I mean, I think it's becoming much more clear now than it used to be a few years ago. Yeah.
One advice you would give, except we mentioned a bit resilience and perseverance, but one other advice you would give yourself when you were starting the company, like.
I mean, apart from losing weight before turning 40, which will probably be. Because now it's impossible. No, apart from that, I mean, honestly speaking, what really I struggled with at the beginning was trying to filter all the inputs and suggestions and recommendations I got from all the experts around me, trying to always remind me that I am the one that doesn't know, right? And I think one of my recommendation, if you start now something, is that really build your shoulders. I mean, you will be told that you don't know, that somebody else will do it better, that somebody else can do it better, and that you should just do what they say and wherever this day is, right? And I think the best advice I can give is like, listen to everybody and get all the things in front of you and build your Sherlock Holmes kind of map. And try to build your story out of all of that, because eventually all of them are right and all of them are wrong, but they don't know, you don't know either, right? So just try to be extremely creative and absorb all possible inputs as you can, but then you have to build your own story. And I think story building is tough. It's extremely tough. So dedicate time to build your own story rather than getting distracted and changing your idea because somebody told you or you heard, or build a story. And whatever you hear, just put it back on the map, and maybe the story will change over time, but it's your story. And especially in biotech or pioneering fields like ours, I mean, who knows what's right and what's wrong? So there is some fundamentals, but at the end of the day, you just have to make it work one way or another. So just build your shoulders in a way that you can, head on weight without losing stability. That's otherwise you go nuts. I mean, because everybody will always tell you they know better than you.
Yeah. Great. And you did it well. So you're a good example for the Great. Thanks, Daniela. Great second conversation.
Yes.
Thanks a lot. Good luck with everything.
Thank you. Fingers crossed.
I'm impressed by how Daniela managed to take CUTISS from an academic ID, to what it is now today. I'm also impressed by her intensity and perseverance while keeping really good vibes. If you've also enjoyed this episode, please hit the like, follow, or review button. Any of these actions will help many more people discover the podcast. If you want to go even further, you can make a donation by clicking on the link in the description below. If you want to see similar videos, please feel free to check out our channel where we have many more. I would also be curious to hear what you think. So if you could leave a comment on whatever platform you are, or shoot me an email at philip@flot.bio. All right. Thanks for watching to the end with my cat, and see you in the next episode.